This is my wife. This is the lovely church where we got married at. And this is our lovely home. Well, things were fine with me and my wife until some gun laws got passed, and this is how the story begins. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? How was your day? Oh, I get it. Must have been that time. Must either be that time of the month or you had a bad day.
How long have you been here?
I've been in and out.
You're right. You've been sitting here all damn day.
Listen, don't start, Gina, alright? Don't even start this BS.
I'm sick of this, Paul. Ever since you've been out of work, all you do is sit here, complain, watch TV, or on the computer all day.
Who the hell are you, the Queen of England?
Yes, now get up and take out the damn trash.
Listen, you don't need to be talking to me like that, alright? I pay bills in this house just as much as you do.
If you pay bills, why your cell phone?
It's off because you keep using all my damn minutes, Gina. You full of it. Coming in here, I'm trying to keep things together. You keep disrupting my peace. You need to realize who the damn man in this relationship is.
Hey, got knocked out.
I said take out the damn trash. Now you need to realize who's in charge. When I say move, you move. I'm in charge of this relationship.
Oh, yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Well, now you see what guns can do to families like mine. Well, let this be a learning lesson to you that if the gun falls into the wrong hands, things can get a little nasty. Well, I'm going to go back to my family now and enjoy my marriage with a gun up to my head. Toodaloo. Alright, everybody out there, we got Wayne, the music maker, online. He's going to talk to us a little bit about himself and a lot of stuff that he's been doing, how music has inspired his life. The first question we got from Method 8, the 8 Ball, is, Wayne, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. What got you into music?
Well, you know what, it seemed like everybody in my family had some kind of kinship to music. Like, I had an aunt that, one of my, my granddad's sisters, and I didn't know until later on in her life that she had, like, she was a singer with jazz band stuff, and she toured and things. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful, like, real cool, jazzy lady, really, really cool on my father's side. My mother's side, excuse me. And so she was very jazzy, and they would listen to, I'd go over there at my grandfather's house around Christmas time, and they would listen to all of the Ray Charles. They would be blasting Ray Charles. They'd be having, like, they'd put us out when, when it got later, they'd start listening to stuff like the Red Fox and those, like, those real raunchy Lenny Bruce things and Mom's Mabley and all that stuff. But during the day, they would be listening. The music was captivating. It was like James Brown. It's like, that was funky. When you come up around that time, you never heard anybody screaming on the microphone.
Yeah.
And so, and then, once I became, that grew up in the, in the 60s, so it was like, it was the hippie area where I lived around. It was like hippies down the street and stuff, and so I talked my mom into, like, giving me drum lessons, and my brother was taking, like, sax. He started playing saxophone. So, we were, like, already into, like, by the time I was in elementary school, how the kids have to, like, carry their instrument and everything. Well, I didn't have to carry mine because I was doing drums at the time. And so a friend of the family, now check this out, a friend of the family took us to see James Brown.
Yeah.
I might have been like 7 or 8 at the time, right?
Yeah.
And then and he actually knew James Brown because they were in the army together.
Yeah.
So I actually met Mr. Brown as a young kid, saw his Lear jet. They pulled up at the airport, my brother, 2 little big head kids. And we got to meet James Brown. Then we hung out with him. We went to get something to eat, and we hung out with him like all the rest of the day when he did his, like, little radio spots and everything. And then down there when they show, we did the sound check. I got to meet Bootsy and all of those people that played with him and Maceo and them. And I was like, wow. And then, so I started hearing that bass. That's when I wanted to play the bass. So I was already taking drum lessons. But then again, I was already probably in my maybe the second year of like taking vibe lessons. When you take the drum lessons and you're playing on the track, and right next to it was that vibraphone. So I wanted to learn how to play that. So he told me if I can get through these books, then he'll teach me.
All right,
so I got through the books real bad.
We got this campaign going where we're talking about, and you're involved with it because you're part of the show. And it's important to me to ask this question because you see the effects of music. This question is personal because you probably can save some people's lives with this question. A lot of people see a lot of musicians when they struggle with certain habits and things like that, and they don't really understand the mind of an artist. What the question I want to ask you, since you've been an impact on the life of Method 8, you've been helping out, you've done so much for me as a person. So tell me, how has music made you the person you are today?
Oh my God, man! It's like since I was since I was a little kid, and once I started like with the discipline, it kind of kept me out of the loop. Like it gave me something to strive for. It was kind of like that thing you had that the other kids didn't know. It was like, what are you doing? Well, I'm busy. I had to practice. After I get finished with practice and come back from the lessons, then we'll go to Cub Scouts. Yeah. But the music, like it touched me. I mean, once I got once I was young, I started playing with different groups when I was probably about like between say 11 to 12. I would say probably about 11. Right. You know, I'm out there playing, sneaking to older people, like having to ask my mother, well, can we take him and his brothers and, him and Bernard, can they come to play with us? They would put me in bands. By the time I was 20 years old, I probably toured all over Dayton, as far as like Detroit regionally. So it made everything I got to see, my whole eyes were through music, through the lens of a musician and artist. The thing I learned about art is, it's like I play music. Music is a career and all of that, but music is first and foremost, it's art. Yeah. And when you think of artists, you got to think of like Van Gogh. Any artist that's not willing to struggle is never going to be worth anything at all, because if you look at like Van Gogh and like some of those great Monet and those guys, they were like, they were so tortured because they just wanted it perfect. And I'm kind of like that myself, but then I had to like kind of smack myself into reality. It's like, okay, it's not gonna be perfect.
Well, like I said, Wayne, man, it's a pleasure, man. You're a part of the campaign, and I'm hoping that what we talked about today will touch somebody's life out there. That if you ever think about doing something that's considered out of your character, or that could be a deciding factor in your family's life, pick up an art, pick up an instrument, pick up a book, pick up a pencil, and just write it down. Art saved my life. It's saving veterans' lives today. Eventually, we will meet the maker someday, Wayne, but I can honestly say, man, once you picked that instrument, you had another day on earth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. After a brutal show, we finally figured it out. We figured it out, didn't we, Linda? We figured it out, Wayne, didn't we? All right.
Yeah, it was hard, man.
All right, I gave the NRA a call. They told me don't call back because they're sick of people calling them about guns. They're retiring. They're putting their bullets away, and they're going back to hugging deers and loving animals. So how we're going to resolve this topic is we figured out that if you are a victim, this is deep. If you're a victim, then you know the effects. So you have a voice. It's easy for me to say if I have never been a victim. So when I've seen my family members or somebody held down at gunpoint and their life was in danger, it's easy for me to look on the outside and say that it should not have occurred or would not have occurred. So if you're a victim and you know what it's like, please express yourself, let us know, and we will conversate and we will figure out how to resolve this as a country, as a group of people and individuals, because we're all involved. I have the right to bear arms, you have the right to bear arms, and Wayne, the music maker, has the right to bear arms. So if we resolve this as a family, then maybe we can come up with a solution. If we can't go to the judiciary system, if we can't go to the NRA, maybe we have to figure out as individuals how I can stop myself from pulling my weapons out on other people. So they always say if you can't find a solution to the problem, you gotta come together as a team. And we tackle this topic as a team. So is that all right, Linda?
Well, you can try to teach your children from a young age other kinds of conflict resolution other than violence. You can try, but you're up against violent video games and TV and movies. So you have to be able to convince your children to put themselves in the place of the person that they're about to commit violence against, and say, how would you feel? How would you feel in this case? How would you feel if you put yourself in their place?
Absolutely.
And then the other issue would be, although we do have the right to have guns to protect ourselves in our homes, how can we keep our children safe? How can we keep the guns out of our children's hands? And there are two schools of thoughts about that. There are people who say, well, teach them about guns, teach them everything, take them to the firing range, teach them to respect guns, teach them how loud a real gun is, that it's not a toy. And there are others that say keep all guns out of their hands, keep BB guns out of their hands, paintball guns, keep toy guns out of their hands, and keep the guns locked up in your house, don't let the children touch them. Other people will say, no, I teach them right away how to clean the gun, teach them gun safety. There are totally different schools of thoughts on that.
Absolutely.
And so that's up to the parents. But the parents do have the right to ask where their children are going, and if there are guns in the house where the children are going, and how are those guns protected? How are those guns locked up? And in your own home, you can ask the police what the best way is to lock up your guns, keep your guns safe, and you can keep the key with you next to your bedside. But you should lock your guns up and keep them away from children. And parents will say, well, my kids are smart, they know better than to play with guns, but they've done studies where children, when there's a gun in the house, they will get curious and they will go and touch the gun, and all kinds of things happen after that. Suicides, homicides, unintentional, intentional, but there are children who get killed from guns in their own home.
Wow. So as you heard it from the Pulse here, the safety report is not looking good on guns in general, especially when it comes to younger children and young adults. So please be responsible with your weapons, think smart, and always try to put yourself on the other end of the caretaker. Thank you so much for tuning into the Pulse with me, your host Brian West, Wayne the Music Maker, and Linda, the lovely Linda Ray. We'll be right back. We'll be back next week with our strong arm, our candy canes, and hopefully we'll have some cotton candy. Thank you so much for tuning in to Pulse. Have a good week, everybody.